Ready to stop spinning your wheels and start moving your business forward? You're in the right place. On each episode of Accelerate to Achieve, we'll discuss a crucial step in the journey, offering tips and advice that you can apply immediately within your own company. From financial management to customer success to digital transformation, we'll cover it all while providing leadership lessons from top industry insiders. In just 15 minutes, you'll be inspired to build momentum through action and achieve incredible results. Welcome to Accelerate to Achieve, the podcast that moves you from question to answer and idea to execution. Hello, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Accelerate to Achieve podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Walter, the founder of Parallels Advisory. The only constant is change. It may occur faster at some times than others, but we're guaranteed things will never remain the same. We need to keep this in mind as we prepare for and enact our plans to avoid falling into a repeating trap. Our guest today will be discussing how we can account for and even capitalize on this. Now, I'm really happy to be joined by Margarita Amplo, and she's the CEO and president of MCA Consulting Services. They provide sales, marketing, business development, and account management services to companies of all sizes. She has an extensive background in enterprise software sales as well as leadership and a passion for the healthcare and technology industries, focusing on building extraordinary relationships and fostering strong partnerships with her clients. Margarita, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Ryan. It's a pleasure being with you today. Appreciate it.
So, as we go into the conversation today, I'd be wondering to get your take on what you feel has really caused a shift recently in how we communicate and, more importantly, what we need to do to effectively message to people.
Well, primarily, it's the way we live our lives today. Due to the pandemic, number one, things have changed dramatically on how we do business. Everyone's in front of their devices, whether it be your laptop, your phone. And as far as communications as well, communicating with one another is totally different. You and I are used to wanting to meet with clients face to face to get that, that personal relationship going. And that'll come, but now you have to be a little bit more creative as far as trying to get to that, as far as connecting with them via video or via email or just, messaging and social media itself.
So, as a result of this, then, what should we reevaluate? Perhaps around, the current way we may normally work and now what may need to change with all of this in mind.
Right. So, your marketing strategy in an organization is very important. You can't just stop it because of the pandemic, and other issues out there. You need to move forward, think differently, see how you're going to attract your audience in a different manner. Like I said, the face-to-face thing is gone away. Some people do meet occasionally, but a lot of people are still hesitant to do that. So you have to find ways to be a little bit more creative in looking at your audience and getting to them. There was actually a study saying that viewers retain 95% of messaging when watching a video, compared to 10% when they're reading a text. So, you might want to consider putting some video in your marketing plan, as well as other items.
No, I think that's important. And I'd love to dive a little further into the perspective of the receiver. And we can even look at this from, those receiving our marketing or other messages. What's the impact on them? And how do we take that into account? Because I would imagine from their perspective, things are changing. So what do we need to think about to be more effective in our way of communicating with them?
Just think of, being in their shoes. as business owners, we want to continue on, making our big business grow and work with clients and get potential clients and get more leads out there. But think of them. I mean, that's what I did. I mean, I thought, if I was a buyer, potential buyer, and I received a phone call from someone trying to sell me something in this world that we're in now, it was just very awkward. It was an awkward type of a conversation. So, I said to myself, well, what can we do? What can we do to change things and not make it so awkward? How can we use technology today to our benefit to help us with this? So I actually partnered with a company called ADMD, through an old colleague of mine introduced me to them, and they use AI to help with getting opportunities and leads and prospects. And AI works, it just pretty much collects a lot of data, and it takes data and the intelligent algorithms and allows the software to learn patterns from the different types of people out there. So we tied that technology with human expertise, from a team of business development experts that have been in the field for 20 plus years, and put that all together and using that to help grow our businesses.
It's interesting because I'm sure a lot of us listening, myself, can probably attest to as the receiver of information, all the increase in, let's just say, traffic communications and everything outreaching, looking for, our business. And, I think that creates an environment often that in many ways, even the good messages get lost, right? Because they just don't have time to weed through it. We've now changed our view of all of this. So how do you see, and I think you started on this, I'd love you to talk a little bit further, the approach of AI, how that learning really changes the paradigm on this and the way those messages come across, so that it's a different experience for the receiver.
Yeah, so the old way of doing business development was picking up the phone, making the dials daily, and just seeing who you can get out there that's interested in your service or your product. Um, with AI, you can actually have the intelligence of doing the research for you, as far as who's ready to buy your service or your product, and take the legwork out of that. So for instance, if I you know back in the day when I started my career, we would call, and one day somebody was interested in buying, give them a quote. um, Nowadays with the AI technology, it actually works, like I said, with the algorithms, and identifies who's ready to buy now, who's looking, what they're looking for, and then allows them to come to you, which is great. And, a lot of us too, as business development experts, remember us having to do all this research on a specific company or a person before you make that call. Well, that's not really necessary until you actually have the call now, which is great.
Well, I think it's important. And, what's interesting there is almost that broader topic of taking a step back from, as you discussed it, how we've done it before, to really look at the bigger picture. Could we do it better, instead of just continuing to do it that same way? And while I definitely do not have the marketing experience such as yourself, with any of us who've kind of been through sales or have done revenue generation, all have lived through our funnels and understand the need to find, the ideal buyer, who is the person with a desire to buy and a desire to buy now and a desire to buy what you're selling. And if you can cut that time and ensure you're focusing more in that space, that's almost every marketer and salesperson's dream.
Right. I mean, it's more about focusing on selling the product or service that you have, instead of having to do all of the legwork in the beginning in finding that person. So it lets your salespeople and your business development people, it allows them to focus on closing the deal, as opposed to, you know beginning that pipeline, building that pipeline, and making sure that it's always there.
So I think one thing we've often seen anytime new solutions or new technologies come out, there is often this rush to just jump in feet first and just go at it because it's the answer to everything. But we tend to find that there's always a balance, and it's not 100% in, 0% out. So do you see pitfalls with any of this, or things we need to be careful of to avoid, so we don't go just running blindly into something?
Yeah, when people are adapting different technologies within their organizations, there's always that worry. Okay, is it just going to be, sitting on the shelf and not used? And I've talked to many clients, and I've sold many software solutions to them. That it's just sitting there. But with this technology, things happen at a slow pace. Within 3 months, you'll see the algorithms really work for you. And we've seen clients getting, 5 to 50 meetings booked a month, and being able to contact between 12,000 and 35,000 prospects annually. So, it does take time. You just need to have the patience and, let it work for you. And I was very hesitant myself. I'm like, how could this be? How could this software really do this? But we're using it for our organization, and we're seeing a lot of activity, a lot of interesting conversations with different types of organizations, from here in the U.S. to Canada. Amazing conversations, people that we're learning about. So, I just say that, like anything else, you need some patience. Within the first 3 months, you'll see the changes, and how it's working for you.
So we're coming to the end of the session today, and before we close off, I'd love to ask you, for someone who sees all of this, understands the need, but is kind of staring at it saying, where do I start? How do I even get going on this concept of changing how I approach prospecting or looking at things differently? What advice do you give them on where to start?
Well, have a conversation with us. I mean, we, MCA Consulting, we've been doing this for a long time. Our background is corporate America. We've worked with prestigious organizations, and we love to talk to you about our experiences, and what we've done in the past, and how when things change, you have to adapt to change, but you can't keep on doing things the way you're doing things in order to see a result. And that's where people get stuck. They want to make a difference in their organization. They know something's not working. They know they're not growing, but they need the help to get there. So we'll be happy to have a free 30-minute consultation with you, just to learn what your strategies are in marketing, and where your company is today, where you want to be. Some companies don't want to really grow that quickly, but we can work with you, and just getting you where you need to be stable, to be where you want to be in your organization as far as marketing is concerned.
And if I'm guessing, and you can let me know if I'm probably hypothesizing on this right, taking some time, even before any the conversation with you, to make sure you understand, like, who do you serve? Who really is your client? Why are they buying? Understanding their motivations is critical, I think, in anything you do, because it really helps drive where you do, and probably makes the use of any solution, whatever action you take, much more successful.
Exactly. I mean, you work, I believe that if you have a passion to do something, you're going to be successful. And if you're targeting a specific group of individuals, providing a specific service or product line, what's your passion? What makes you happy? What makes you thrive? And follow that passion, and that will make you successful. You just have to have the right plan in place to get you there.
Great. Margaret, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you sharing, introducing us to some new things probably a lot of folks don't even know is here or even on the horizon, as well as just the advice and guidance you provided during the show today.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Ryan. It was a pleasure, and look forward to maybe another conversation in the future.
It's easy to get caught up in the tactical, day-to-day routine of completing what's right in front of us. Nobody wants work to pile up and new tasks just continue to come in. If we don't take some time to change perspective and look out more broadly, we might soon find ourselves traveling down the wrong path. Thank you for listening today. I look forward to joining you on the next episode. Until then, I'm Ryan Walter, and remember that solving your biggest business problems begins when you decide to accelerate your approach and achieve more.
At Parall's Advisory, our focus is your business's future. Having the right insight, experience, and perspective makes all the difference when tackling far-reaching issues within your company. We are here to simplify the steps, unlock your potential, and move you forward, making your vision a reality. We've helped startups achieve massive growth, mid-sized businesses navigate digital transformation, and enterprises embrace innovation. Wondering how to jumpstart your business and move it forward? Contact us to discuss your audacious goals during a complimentary consultation.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Accelerate to Achieve. If you're enjoying the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review wherever you listen. Got a question, feedback on the program, or interested in being a guest? Simply go to parallels.co/A2A-podcast and send us a message. To learn more about our work or to book a consultation, visit us at parallels.co/contact. Until next time, remember that solving your biggest business problems begin when you decide to accelerate your approach and achieve more.